Seriously, after I walked out of this movie, the first thought that came into my mind was, what in the heck did I just watch? Everyone, is Sharonda from Pay or Wait, and today I'm going to be reviewing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is directed by Quentin Tarantino, his 9th Quentin Tarantino film. This film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. Essentially, Margot Robbie's playing Sharon Tate, who was a famous actress who we know was unfortunately murdered while she was with child, along with 4 other of her friends. But also, too, Leonardo DiCaprio plays Rick Dalton, who is this like washed-up television actor who's nearing the end of his career, and things aren't going so well. He's trying to hold on to his last shred of hope to really just make it in his career. And then Cliff Booth, who's played by Brad Pitt, is his stunt double. And essentially, this movie centers around the 60s, coming towards the end of the golden era of Hollywood. So, for those of you who are new to my channel, I tell you what I liked about the film. What I didn't like about the film is, should you pay your way to see this film in theaters? So we said we're not going to be petty no more in 2019, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the positive of this film. Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, guys, they make the entire movie. If they were not in this movie, I would just be like, this movie is trash. I don't want to watch it ever again in my life. It was terrible. But Brad Pitt, he does this very fantastic job as playing this. He's kind of this like one-dimensional type of character because he plays this stunt double who's really just like, he's kind of like an ass. And he has this troubled past in Hollywood where no one really wants to work with him anymore. And I don't want to spoil it for you, but he's very entertaining to watch in this film, and kind of his interactions that he has with Leo, who plays Rick Dalton. And so essentially he's a stunt double. So he does do some stunt work that's pretty cool to watch in the film. For the ladies that are watching, do you want to know if there's some eye candy to be shown? Yes, there is. There's a shirtless scene that happens on the roof and is worth every single minute of the movie. But also, too, Leonardo DiCaprio is absolutely hilarious. I would say this is more reminiscent to the comedy that we saw in The Wolf on Wall Street, as he plays this washed-up actor who has his vices, who's trying to become a better actor, but because of his drinking and he really gets into his own head, he's just miserable, y'all. He's just trying to make it the best way that he can, but he is absolutely hilarious to watch on screen. He definitely delivers most of the comedy that we see in the film, and as I will say it again, without those two, I wouldn't have loved this movie so much. But also, too, I want to give a shout out. There's a child actor, her name is Julia, and she portrays this child actor called Trudy, who's acting on a show with Rick Dalton in this Western film. And I was just like, she's like this wise, beyond her years, young child actor who is just so adorable, and she commanded all the attention in the scene that she had with Leo. And I was just like, I see you. I just want to shout you out and just tell you I want to see so much more from you. But there was also Dakota Fanning, who's in this film, who plays one of the hippies on a part of the Manson family, and I would have to say that she was very unrecognizable. I had to stare for a moment like, she looks familiar, but I can't tell who this girl is. And I was like, Dakota, I didn't even know that was you. I thought she did fantastic, as well as Margaret Qualley, who plays Pussycat, one of the other hippies that are a part of this compound that they live on, and she was absolutely fantastic as well. You know, she played this hippie that had this little armpit hair and these feet. I don't understand, you guys. We are living in some trying times right now where we are finding that people not washing their legs or washing their feet. And I had to see so much dirty feet in this movie, and my heart and my eyes could not take it. That would probably be a kind, but it's really just a petty kind, because I'm just really struggling with the fact of learning that people don't wash their feet. Okay, let me just stop talking about this because it has nothing to do with the movie, but does, because I see that in the movie. But let me just keep going on. But with the positives that I had about this film, I would have to say that the style that Quentin shoots this film in, especially because it's kind of like a movie within a movie, because they're filming TV shows. Seeing Rick Dalton, who's like filming this Western show, kind of brought me back to watching Westerns with my grandpa, and kind of how they like stop a scene and kind of roll it back to really show how far we come as far as technology and how we film shows, how we film movies. But it really made you feel as though that you were a part of the 60s, even seeing how some of these classic monuments, how they look back then. I thought they did a very great job, and the hopefulness that you see on screen, because everything is kind of filmed and it has this like bright like bronzy glow that it has to it, as to kind of the happy times that we were in Hollywood. And also, to going into this, will go into the pros and the cons. leading me into the cons. Margot Robbie, who portrays Sharon Tate, while I enjoyed watching her on screen, she brought a sense of hopefulness, of joy while watching her portray Sharon Tate, whose career was in it early due to tragedy of her being murdered. I wanted to see more done with her character, and we knew that this was a huge topic of discussion during Cannes at a press conference, but I would have to agree after seeing the film that she really didn't have that much to do, especially since, to me, the movie was kind of portrayed that it was going to center around her murder and kind of how that intertwines with the other characters of the story. Also, too, I think that because there were so many talented women in this film, that I did want to see women have a little bit more to do. I know that this film is more reminiscent to the 60s, where women didn't have that much to do. We were just kind of getting started at the beginning of the feminist movement during that time period, but I did want to see a little bit more. I don't know if that's selfish for me to ask for, or maybe just me being a woman. I want to see women portray, like, you know, in a better light than what I saw in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I don't think it's as horrible as people kind of made it out to be, but I did want to see them do more. Also, too, with the portrayal of Bruce Lee, we kind of saw him in the trailer. I did feel as though his character was cartoonish. I can see why the Lee family would have issues to how he was portrayed. I did feel as though it was a little disrespectful. Could have been more of a parody, and I kind of understand what they were trying to do in that scene, but it still rubbed me a little bit the wrong way at the same time. And also, too, kind of rounding out overall my issue that I had with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is the script. It's the script. I don't know what Quentin was trying to necessarily portray with this film. I understand kind of this, what does everybody say? Everybody, it's a love letter to Hollywood. Guys, it's a love letter to Hollywood. I get it. I felt the nostalgia, you know, felt like I was transported back into time, but I still don't understand what the main purpose of this film was supposed to be. Even though the film has like a really crazy third act that really like got me invested in the movie again, for it to be 2 hours and 41 minutes, I definitely feel as though this movie could have been under 2 hours. I would have even given you a 2 hours. I would have been like, that's fine. But because of a poor script and the writing, and there's just no purpose. I don't know. When I walked out of the theater, I was just like, what did I just watch? I don't understand what Quentin was trying to convey to his audience. And honestly, if it weren't for the brilliant cast that he had, the brilliant acting that he had, especially with Leo and Brad, I would have hated every single moment of this film. And to be honest, if anyone else were directing this outside of Quentin Tarantino, everybody would have said this movie was terrible. But because I am a Quentin fan, and because the acting was so well done, if I would have paid to see this film in theaters, I wouldn't have felt as though I wasted my money. Would I ever watch this film again outside of the one and done? No, I wouldn't. But I would say that for me and my coins, I would still be content with paying to see this film in theaters. I think that if you're not like a Quentin Tarantino fan and you necessarily, this movie isn't like your type of thing, then I would tell you probably don't want to see this. Probably wait for it to come on TV or to be able to rent it. But I'm still going to say a pay because I laughed. I had a great time. The third act is absolutely crazy. Didn't see any of that coming. And I was just like, oh my gosh. That definitely made it worthwhile for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As always, my name is Sharonda from Pitt. And if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.